Thank you. Hi everyone, welcome here. Thank you for being here. As said, I'm Federico Mongelli, Director of PwC Strategy and member of the Aerospace and Defense practice of the PwC team. Together with my team, we work in the advanced air mobility space, helping companies in finding solutions to overcome the challenges in this particular domain. I'm pleased to be here and conduct this panel. Just a very brief overview on the main topics that we're going to discuss. As a consulting company, we see a lot of things in this specific domain. In particular, when we study the Italian market of the advanced air mobility, what we see is basically a booming market that is mirroring what's happening outside Italy, so worldwide. We're expecting substantial growth in the market over the next few years in all the main, across all the main missions, so namely defense, aerial work, data visual acquisition, movement of goods, and of course passenger transportation. The latest one, the passenger transportation, will play the lion's share on this growth. We're expecting, in fact, roughly 75% of growth year over year over the next few years. Despite being so promising, we see also challenges. For instance, compared to previous estimation, we saw a little bit of slowdown of the passenger transportation due to the delay in the entry into service of the main OEM. Also, what we saw is that the value chain is not fully ready yet. So we saw different degree of maturity of the players along the value chain. We start from suppliers, tier 1, tier 2 suppliers, which are the most advanced in terms of readiness in the value chain, but yet they have to define a production way to be sustainable and to cope with the expected volumes of the industry. Same goes for the OEMs, which are developing new solutions, new products, but yet they have to find a way to make it sustainable. And when we move to service providers, aerospace integration services, and ground infrastructure, we see that we are still lagging behind. So we need to work with the regulation, with customers, and to the whole ecosystem to create partnerships in order to face these challenges. Today, I have the pleasure to steer two panels along these topics, composed by key players along the whole value chain in advanced air mobility. Discussion will be pivoted around three main points. So the first one is, what are the opportunities ahead? So what each panelist, each company sees in terms of opportunities. What are the main challenges? So the problems and the challenges that we see, and above all, what are the solutions that the companies are putting into place in order to overcome these challenges. Without any further ado, let me introduce the panelists of this first session. So there should be already connected Christian Schmid, CEO, Head of Market Strategy of Pipistrel. Thanks, Christian. Then we have Carlo Tursi, CEO of Urban V. Thanks, Carlo. Alberto Iovino, Head of Operational Support in Innovative Air Mobility at ENAV. Giuseppe Piazzolla, Project Engineer Manager and Air Traffic Management System at Leonardo. Angela Natale, President of Boeing Italia. And Luca Cardone, Head of Marketing Enterprise of Wintra. Thanks, everyone. So let's start, since we are running out of time with the agenda. Let's start with the first topic. Basically, what are the main opportunities that you see in the market, and what's your company doing? Please, Christian, shall you start? We cannot hear you yet.
Sorry, now?
Yeah, now we can.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, so thanks a lot for the invitation. Happy to join your panel today. I'm the head of market strategy Europe at Volocopter. Volocopter is a full service provider and OEM of eVTOL aircrafts. So we are not looking only into manufacturing the aircrafts, but we also look into developing the right, let's say, offline and digital solutions to make urban air mobility reality. And this we do together with our partners along the value chain. So we are also not, right in the beginning of the value chain being a manufacturer, but also developing different solutions along the value chain, either alone or with our partners together. Maybe this as a quick company overview.
Okay, so Carlo Tursi, what's your view?
Yeah, so good morning, everyone. So I'm at Urban V. Urban V is a international vertiport network operator. So our goal is to design, build, and eventually operate networks of vertiports for eVTOL to take off and land from. We are based in Rome. We are a company that was established on the initiative of Aeroporti di Roma together with the airport management companies of Venice, Nice, and Bologna. And we are currently developing a number of networks of vertiports, both in Italy and abroad, both in the catchment areas of our shareholders and in other areas also beyond Europe. And in particular, among those, we are getting ready to launch initial operations, small-scale but commercial operations in Rome, together with our partner Volocopter, where we have finalized the projects for the first two vertiports, one to be located at Rome Fiumicino Airport, the other one in the city center, close to the Vatican, for those of you who are familiar with the city of Rome. And we, together with Volocopter, we are targeting the end of this year, so the end of 2024, for the start of a small-scale but commercial operation connecting the airport with the city center. So the opportunity is clearly that of introducing a new form of mobility, which is often referred to as air taxi, which is an evocative term. This is not technically a taxi in that a taxi will pick you up at your doorstep and drop you off at your final destination, whereas eVTOL will move in between stations that are vertiports, the one that we develop and will eventually operate, which means that it is by definition one mode of mobility which will need to be interconnected with other modalities in order to allow people to move from A to B. And in this, and so this will be an additional layer using the third dimension to complement the existing ways to move around our cities and in between cities. And in this regard, we're conducting a lot of work. We have been conducting a lot of work together with Volocopter, with other industrial partners. In Rome, we have established a test vertiport already 1.5 years ago, where we have been experimenting together with ENAV, with ENAC, with the supervision of ENAC, and together with our partner Leonardo, which contributed together with us to the establishment of this test vertiport, which is a regulatory sandbox, so a place where we can conduct tests also in a very complex airspace, such as the one of Rome Fiumicino Airport, of the busiest airport in Italy. So we are at the dawn of the introduction of a new form of mobility, which will gradually revolutionize the way we move around, offering more opportunities and integrating with the existing forms of mobility that we already have.
Thank you very much. What about you, Alberto? What are the opportunities you see as in your
Grazie, Federico. You heard about ENAV several times today. We're basically everywhere. That means something. ENAV is a service provider, but in this game we are possibly even more than that. Within ENAV Group, there is ENAV itself, which is the air navigation service provider, legacy aviation, manned aviation. And also there is TechnoSky, which is UAS operator. There's IDS Nav, which is software developer, and there's DFlight, which is Common Information Service Provider and Use-Space Service Provider. More than that, within DFlight, DFlight itself is a partnership between ENAV and Leonardo Telespazio. So we also have the industry on board, the industry at its best. So basically, the opportunities that we see are connected to the fact that we look at the issue from a unique perspective, which is the one of being capable of having a 360 degrees look at this revolution that we're dealing with. That it's written there, shaping our future. That's actually what we're doing, our future and the future of the generations to come. So perspectives that we see are those of, taking good advantage of these unique positions we have of having this overall comprehensive perspective on the matter and putting it as a true enabler of this new mobility coming.
Thank you. And what's the view in Leonardo, Giuseppe?
Our view for AAM is, of course, AAM introduced in the sky new actors, and the objective of Leonardo is to enabling technologically in a safe and sustainable way this introduction of different actor, drone, high-altitude operation in non-segregated space, maintain the safe and the efficiency. Of course, Leonardo use their leverage in technology because we are expert in ATM systems, in communication, navigation, surveillance, and both in advanced air mobility. In fact, we support ENAV and Telespazio with the DFlight for the certification as a Use-Space and Common Information Service Provider. Our road is now it started already. We use some experimental view study, and some for the example. There is a Cesar project or other type of project. For example, in Grottaria here, we have studied the collaboration between ATM system and UTM system, DFlight, in controlled space. We segregated an area we assigned to drone, and this drone operating in the area near the airport. But this area can be used, can be dynamically reconfigured by a air traffic controller. And for example, in our simulation, we use emergency flight that need to access to a Use-Space area. So the two genus system talk via SWIM, a standard ICAO. And the drone have the information, the order for land, and get free the airspace. So, of course, for us, the AM is a disruptive business, but it's a big opportunity because need for introduce all these actors. Leonardo have to have to participate in modernization of ATM system, other system, communication, navigation, surveillance system. For that is our opportunity.
Thank you. We'll take back from this for the challenges that you see later. Angela, please, your view, your opportunities.
Thank you. So first thing first, good morning, everyone. And I would like to thank the government of Apulia region for this great event, because it is always so good to talk with all my esteemed colleagues here, on the floor about this important topic that is the future air mobility. And so as Boeing, I can tell you that UAV, UAM are very important topic of our company strategy. It is not just important, it is necessary, because we are just coming out of a geopolitical moment, very difficult, the pandemic was a big hit for all the economy, and in particular for the aerospace. I mean, the flights were stopping overnight, and everyone was in a big difficulty, and also we, Boeing, like all the aerospace company. But the aerospace industry is resilient, and we see already some sign of reprise. And indeed, if we are considering our forecast for the next year, think about that. Overall, we need by 2041 something like 41,000 new aircraft. That is a value of $10.8 trillion of dollars. I'm talking about all across the globe, of course. But it is a huge number, and how we can do it? Just by thinking about big, about the future, and so it means investment in innovation. Just because I am, an engineer, I like data, I like numbers, and so think about that since 2003, Boeing invested something like $60 billion in new technologies. And those are the technologies that are able to pave the street for the new aerospace. An aerospace that is safe, that is robust, that is really the future that is coming into our house. And so in terms of talk of UAV, we are doing a lot of progress. And before also some of my colleagues were talking about, and it is nice because there are some common themes among us. That means that we are going all together in the right direction. And so also Boeing, in terms of UAV, we have a very nice aircraft that is called Cora. And Cora, I like it a lot because, it is this little yellow thing, well, not so little actually, the wingspan is like 15 meters, and it is eVTOL, like we were saying before, so it is electrical, completely electrical, vertical and takeoff and landing aircraft. That means that it is able to, to kind of take off and landing like an helicopter and then fly like an aircraft, so it's a mix of the two. And it is the most modern, I would say, aerotaxi that we have. Indeed, we are already performing the certification steps, and we are at a good point with the FAA. And so we hope that this aircraft, Cora, will be flying in our sky already at the end of this decade. And it is, it will be like maybe, a solution of the congestion on the ground, because with its autonomy of 140 kilometers and the speed that is 244 kilometers per hour, it will be maybe, the solution of the future. And so this is, what we are doing right now, innovation and technology and Cora, and I think that this is the way of the future.
Thanks. Thank you very much, Angela. From a telco perspective, last. Luca.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to give our point of view in terms of the opportunity that we are seeing with advanced air system. Today, telco technologies in general and technologies that may be driven by telcos may enable the use of 5G, AI, information on data that enable the usage of drone and advanced technology system not only in defense area but also in private area. This is an important opportunity for me. What we are looking into the market that stands to this kind of technology today, we can see the use of drone also in private system, in the private market. So for example, we can use drone to control certain area, using a drone for checking some systems, monitoring some system, doing some action in a private system, in a private area, and also providing different use cases for example, search and rescue that are for public administration, but in certain area. So all these aspects, all these scenario may be opportunity for not only defense, but also for private market, as I said, and not only on our market in terms of technology, but also for startups that want to implement new technology. So today, telco operator may implement, we will talk about challenge and difficulties on this later, but may enable private market to use 5G, but also 6G, so the sixth generation, to use mobile connectivity to drive vehicle, to receive data from vehicle in real time, so enable real-time monitoring and also use of the AI close to this kind of drone. So this is the opportunity for me that can be used to the market and can be accessible to all, not only to the defense.
Thanks, Luca. So we heard many interesting opportunities from different perspectives of the value chain, OEM, telco operators, regulators, industry. But in your opinion, what are the main challenges that you see in the coming future, and how are you planning to overcome these challenges from your own perspective? Christian?
Yes, thanks a lot. Well, from an OEM perspective, I think one of the main challenges is the type certification of our products itself, right? It's a new technology. The regulatory foundation is also still in development for actually certifying our vehicles, etc. So it's an extremely complex process. And looking into the second thing I have in mind is public acceptance. Obviously, new technology needs to be safe and secure, so we have to ensure both by our coming type certification. I think this is one big challenge ahead, which is extremely complex. The second challenge I see for further growth and also looking long term is airspace and infrastructure availability. Right, so we all can come up with nice business cases and looking left and right, growth opportunities, etc. But at the end, in the system, there are limiting factors, as said, such as airspace and infrastructure. Infrastructure, specifically when we look into dense populated areas, downtown areas of the big cities, and especially airspace restrictions when we want to operate near to big airports. Right, so we have done a lot of analysis in both directions. And these are always, let's say, the two limiting factors. What are we doing, to overcome those? When we talk about type certification, obviously, I think the key is to very closely work together with our, certifying authorities. So especially, on national level, but also on European level, to take them with us, to let them being part of our development process. So I think it needs to be a joint collaboration between authorities and the manufacturer. When we look into airspace and infrastructure availability, when looking into Rome, I think we have already had several discussions, or let's say a lot of discussions also with the respective authorities. ENAC, we were discussing solutions with ENAF together with Aeroport di Roma and Urban V, of course, to find solutions regarding airspace limitations here and there. And then obviously we are also relying, when looking into infrastructure, with local partnerships, in this case in Rome, especially Urban V, who has, let's say, the local contacts and the local expertise to identify respective infrastructure. I think last but not least, one other challenge, which is also, I think, an opportunity from my point of view, is, let's say, the orchestration of the entire ecosystem. Right? We have so many different stakeholders in the value chain, in the ecosystem, from energy supplier, from the OEMs, from equipment suppliers, from infrastructure suppliers, etc. And then obviously also in the public sector, all the authorities and governments involved. So bringing everyone together, I think, is on the one hand a big opportunity for the industry itself, but at the same time it also needs to be managed consistently and properly throughout the entire process.
Thank you, Christian. Carlo,
You're welcome.
your turn.
Yeah, so obviously, there are a number of challenges that, most people could guess. There's technological challenges, there's regulatory challenges, there's social acceptance challenges. I would argue that most of these challenges actually have to do more with scaling this form of transport than with the introduction of this form of transport. At least that's our point of view, given where we are today. We are getting ready to introduce this new form of mobility within our cities, within our regions. But for the introduction of this technology is there, regulation is there. We're lucky to have ENAC as a pioneer, also at an international level with, regulating this space. The basic technology is there. And there's interest and curiosity also from the public that we are garnering about this form of mobility. Having said, probably today, I would say the main challenge that we're facing is actually something that Christian just referred to, which is actually orchestrating the set of players and across the ecosystem that are required to introduce this form of mobility. Today there's no established value chains, there's no established role. This industry is still nascent, in a nascent phase, and as a consequence, we are taking upon ourselves also the role not just of the vertiport developer, but also of the orchestrator in order to try and tie together all the players that need to collaborate in order to make this vision a reality quite quickly. But then, as we will want to move from introduction, from the early stages, from a pilot phase into a scale-up and industrial phase, then, of course, technological challenges will play a role because, vehicle performance, the economics that these vehicles can perform at will become very important in order for this industry to grow. Regulatory challenges, in integrating higher levels of traffic into our airspaces, and technological challenges connected to managing that airspace, as well as social acceptance once this form of mobility becomes a bit more dominant, a bit more visible, a bit more present in our daily lives. Then, of course, these are challenges that we as players of this industry will need to work on. We are, in fact, working on, and we need to keep working on for the next 3 to 4 years in order for this industry to go from a nascent stage where it is today to a bit of a more mature stage within the course of this decade.
Thanks. Berto?
Yeah, thank you. Indeed, all the issues have been truly mentioned. From our point of view, we have to say that currently in Europe, we do have a framework for this newer mobility. If you think of unmanned aircraft system, drones, if you want to call them, we do have a comprehensive regulatory framework, including services with Aerospace. Innovative air mobility is even younger, so it's less advanced, but it's coming. There's a lot on the way. On the other hand, if you look at these regulatory frameworks, the Aerospace regulation is on one hand quite challenging because it's based on very advanced technological solutions, which also imply significant costs. But on the other hand, it's sometimes not fully mature from the operational point of view. When you try to apply it, you have to tackle issues which are not completely solved. If you think about innovative mobility, again, this is still less advanced, and there are many points that have to be touched and addressed. So, in the end, this is, from our perspective, the main challenge. But we do believe that we are currently at the point that there is a need for making it real. We do believe that within 2024, 2025, we shall deploy and implement a first step of actual, use of these regulatory frameworks and application of this regulatory framework, which could not be the full medium long-term picture, which already needs work to be done, but it will be crucial to enable the market growth and to also contribute to the evolution of the regulatory framework itself. So for us, the main challenge now is this one. We believe that within this year and next year, we shall make it happen within a stepped approach.
Okay, more or less we talk about every challenge because regulatory, safety, social acceptance. For industry like Leonardo, this one is all challenges, but we decline from a technological point of view. Of course, for us, the sustainability is the main topics because we have sustainability in Q step because we have sustainable from the point of view of business because the cost is very high for access to this service. Maybe the business don't grow anymore. So our industries have the rule to maintain the safety and cost, the high safety and cost acceptable for the system that useful for creating this business. And this one, as consequence, create a social acceptance because if people have access to this service, will accept this new business, this new service. If the cost is limited to few people because it's too high the cost, maybe the social acceptance will lose.
So basically, you think public acceptance and affordability of the service are strictly linked?
Yes.
Okay. What about you, Angela? What do you think about that?
Well, I think that my colleagues here already covered it pretty well, so maybe I will be repeating some of the concept. And this is good, again, because I think that we are on the same page. I think that the UAV is a must, is the way to go to the future of air mobility, so we must do it. But for sure, it will introduce some new problem, as we already have discussed till now, and new stakeholders. I mean, there is for sure the local government, the OEM, the regulator, but last but not least, there is the public. It is us. And this is a new stakeholder that is not trivial. Think about that. Before I talked to you about our Cora, right? That is the latest generation. On its sixth generation, Cora is able to bring 4 passengers without pilot, and we are certifying it. Now, just let's do a quick experiment. How many of you, if I'm telling you, hey, outside there is my Cora, do you want to go there and take it? Let's see, raise your hand, please. Who will go there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we have 4 people. Amazing, you know. But it is true. I mean, we need to convince people that it is safe and it is possible, right? So it is not easy. In addition, of course, to the certification problem, of course, think about a sky where both the autonomous aircraft and normal aircraft with the pilot are going. It is a big problem. I mean, think about the certification rule that need to be at the same time the same for everyone and all across the world. And at the same time, they need to be so agile to follow the future that is already becoming present. It is not easy. It is not easy. And then there are the problem of the interaction on the ground, on the sky. So you need a technology for sure, and Boeing is working through, you know, all the issue of the technology to make, you know, the sky safe and robust and reliable, but it's not easy. So this is one problem. Then there are a lot of problems that my colleagues already described, like with these drones and big drones. You know, there are problems like, you know, some like noise, like, you know, also the intrusion, the visual intrusion as well, and also a problem in terms of work environment, right? There are all these problems that we need to overcome. So while I think that the UAV is the way of the future, we need to work all together, and I think that events like this one are useful to go in that direction because we need to convince people. And I think that the public is our main stakeholder. So while as OEM, I think that we have the technology to do everything, to construct the aircraft, to build a sky that is safe, that is reliable, that is robust. we need to convince ourselves. And for this reason, let's start this journey all together since the beginning, because it is the key to be successful.
Thank you, Angelo.
Okay, I think everything said. So let me try to give you another point of view in terms of scalable markets. So today, this kind of system is a niche market. So it's more related to defense, and there are huge investment on this. As I said before, if we want to make it scalable, we need to look at the private market. Private market is totally different, probably other kind of needs, other kind of market, but there is a huge opportunity in order to implement different technology and different business case that can be really affordable also in terms of market and use cases for who want to use it. Also in terms of economics. So let me say some example. If I want to control something today in a wide-scale market, using a drone for controlling the system today is very expensive. So this kind of control can be done with different other techniques, no? Like helicopter or physical system with a video camera. If we implement technology that can be scalable and can be affordable into the market, today this kind of business can be different. So we can see a lot of new market and new opportunity into the market for the digital transformation in this kind of sense. So today what I can see as a challenge is building technology. Today technology exists, as I said, no? There is a 5G that can be scalable into the market. There is also use of edge computing, AI, that can be scalable into the market. However, today, this kind of technology is not scalable in terms of public network. If you look at, for example, 5G technology, because I'm a mobile operator, so I can tell about it, 5G is built for intercepting community at low level, underground level, no? So if you look at the drone that need to fly at certain level of air system, network is not built for intercepting this kind of opportunity. So if we need a drone that needs certain latency bandwidth to be controlled and download data, today network is not capable to afford this kind of scenario. So we need to implement a new way to define the mobile network in order to intercept this kind of market. Can be done in different way, but this is a challenge. So if we build this kind of opportunity, this market can be, let's say, a market that can be addressable for startup or new markets or also big company that want to intercept new opportunities. Okay.
Thank you, Luca. So we spoke about different things. If I remember everything, because you mentioned many things, regulation, for sure, public acceptance, so the way of how people will perceive the services, scalability of the business, which is, of course, linked to the topic that you mentioned, that the service has to be affordable by the audience, by the people. Safety, also linked with the public acceptance, and certification. These are more or less the main topics that have been discussed. I don't know, maybe we have 5 minutes for a couple of questions from the audience, if there are any. Okay, I don't see many hands raised. Okay, so I think that we can thank you very much for your availability and for your precious insights. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank for all of the panelists. And now we have the new connection with the cage to meet the winning students of the DB race. Francesca, come vanno le cose? Abbiamo già I nomi dei vincitori. Aspettiamo il collegamento con la gabbia. Allora, ancora un attimo. E allora, se il collegamento non è ancora pronto, possiamo avviarci. Ah, ecco Francesca, eccoci qui.
Prova 1, 2.
Ecco, abbiamo i vincitori, credo. Prego, Francesca.
Sì, siamo qui ancora dalla gabbia, dove si sono concluse le gare previste per questa mattina. La premiazione è stata effettuata. Il miglior team, quindi il team che ha ottenuto il punteggio migliore rispetto ai tempi ottenuti in questa giornata, è il team dell'Istituto Augusto Righi di Taranto. La premiazione è avvenuta nella sala in cui è stata effettuata anche l'accoglienza delle nostre scuole, per le mani del dottor Giuseppe Acerno, presidente del distretto tecnologico dell'Aerospazio, e del dottor Esposito del distretto aerospaziale Campano. Ovviamente i ragazzi sono stati entusiasti di questa manifestazione, di questa prima giornata. Tanto è stato l'entusiasmo, tanta è stata la carica che ci hanno trasmesso, e probabilmente è proprio questo il significato più importante di questa giornata: dare anche ai ragazzi, dare anche agli studenti delle nostre scuole superiori, ricordo della Puglia, della Basilicata e della Campania, una motivazione in più, uno spunto in più anche di riflessione rispetto al loro futuro. Tante le prospettive, tanti sogni per il futuro di questi giovani. Speriamo di aver dato con questa giornata l'opportunità a qualcuno di loro di pensare che il settore dell'aerospazio può rappresentare effettivamente uno sbocco lavorativo anche per loro. Dalla gabbia è tutto, l'appuntamento è per domani, saranno 4 le scuole a sfidarsi nella competizione. Vi auguro una buona prosecuzione di lavori, per quello che mi riguarda è tutto, a domani.
Bye Francesca, see you tomorrow. Now it's the moment of the last panel of the morning. Also the moderator is Federico Mongelli. It's a panel about innovative aerial service, the way forward, the session 2.
Here we are for the second round of the panel. So please come Rocco Nanavecchia, Manager of Novel Technology Field at Pipistrel. Hi Rocco. Then welcome to Giovanna Scardapane, Program Manager and Program Telespazio. Mauro Berzovini, Head of Partnership and Funding at Helicopter Division at Leonardo. Anurag Gupta, Business Strategies at Airbus Urban Mobility. And Massimiliano Mesenasco, Business Development Manager at Vodafone. Thank you very much for being here. I would go directly to the question. So, as previously, basically, for each one of you, we'll be investigating what are the main opportunities that you see on the advanced air mobility value chain, and then we speak about challenges and possible solutions. So I would start with the main opportunities that you see. Maybe Rocco, you can start.
Thank you, Federico, for the question. A belated good morning to everybody. I'm Rocco Nanavecchia from Pipistrel. Thanks, Federico, for the introduction. And I definitely love your question. It's always a pity that I only have a couple of minutes to talk about it, right? When it comes to advanced air mobility, usually I am amazed by the number of opportunities that have emerged to transform the way we move passenger and cargo, also to different locations, remote locations. Among the different opportunities, Pipistrel has shown already concrete interest and also commitment in delivering an environmentally friendly, digital and connected aerial cargo delivery solution. This together with a scaled UAS, autonomous UAS operation. Why cargo? So Pipistrel in cargo saw different opportunities. We should have a slide here to support my speech, but I can go ahead and say we saw different opportunities in cargo. Why this? First one, to sort out, to solve inefficiencies, but also the cost of the operation in the logistic industry, first. Second, also to create a path for public acceptance, to shift from cargo and eventually to passenger, that this was raised already in different panels, how being one of the main challenges for advanced air mobility. Also to offer new solutions to underserved and unpopulated locations that are difficult to reach. And eventually, also the way how we do cargo. One of the opportunities that we are actually exploring and then we are actually trying to exploit is to change how we do cargo. Right now, cargo looks simple, but is not, okay? So if we want to move from a warehouse to another warehouse, most of the time we have to go through 2 trucks, so 2 people, and then maybe a plane to connect long distances. What we would like to do is actually to solve this with a solution and with help of the advanced air mobility, thanks to our Nuva V300, that is an hybrid electric cargo unmanned drone, that is actually there to help this kind of market, this kind of opportunities, and this kind of logistics. We believe that solution like Nuva V300 that can allow multiple and automatic point-to-point operation can actually increase the efficiency of current products and solutions, but at the same time have the same level of safety of the current means of transportation. So cargo is definitely something we are looking for, something we are trying to contribute to and help advancing the advanced air mobility.
Thank you, Rocco. Giovanna?
Good morning, thank you for this invitation. Telespazio is a joint venture between Leonardo and Thales and is one of the biggest players in satellite solutions and services. So also in advanced air mobility, our role is to provide services and provide technological solutions. In the framework of technological solution, I would like to point out 2 main goals that are the creation of an hybrid communication network that enables a communication between the ground segment and the aircraft in the airspace. The other goal would be to enable operation with higher risk thanks to GNSS service solution. Telespazio developed communication devices, they are called TPZ Air 100, that implementing a hybrid solution allow to have secure and reliable communication, both for manned and unmanned vehicles. They have also edge computing capabilities, so it's possible to run algorithm on board. Last week we had a demonstration in the framework of Glider project financed by Italian Space Agency when we demonstrated the positioning, the augmentation services for the positioning of drones. In the framework of technology, I would like also to mention the collaboration with Oil Chain for the provisioning of communication solution for the smart control tower for vertiports operator. Looking at the J information services instead, we have a long experience in Earth observation programs. And since in the last 5 years, we became a drone operator with the intent to integrate drone advantages into consolidated the process of private and public companies. Telespazio developed a software platform, a proprietary platform for drone mission management, T-Drones, that includes the whole end-to-end service chain, from the planning to the execution to the exploitation of data, but with the focus oriented to manage complex scenarios where the operational experience of Telespazio could be a plus. Today we are a drone operator with a certified safety management system, and we have several activities in many different domains, from infrastructure monitoring to agriculture, from law enforcement to land environmental monitoring. Thank you.
Thanks, Giovanna. Mauro, what about Leonardo?
Thank you. So, advanced air mobility is truly a revolution in the aviation industry. And what we imagine is traveling, let's say, in a fancy and very futuristic way from A to B, saving quite a lot of time. Speaking of time, I'm going to try and stay within the 3 minutes. There's a lot to say, though. We are envisioning this VCA, this vertical capable aircrafts, taking off and landing vertically and then cruising in airplane mode. It's a big challenge. There's a noise issue, there's the social acceptance issue, there's safety issues. But Leonardo, and specifically Aerostructure division and the helicopter division, are actively working from the, let's say, platform standpoint, from the product standpoint. Aerostructure is working for some of the startup OEMs out there, and the helicopter division being, let's say, the center of the capability for vertical flight, is doing their homework. Let's say we're doing our homework. Many of the building blocks of the innovative air mobility aircrafts are already part of our technological roadmap, such as the hybrid propulsion or the electric propulsion or new advanced materials and such. So we are actively working on putting together, platform and aircraft concepts, although, let's say, we're taking baby steps, if I can say that, towards that goal. We're not there to be, let's say, the first mover. We appreciate the effort of the pioneers out there, but we're in for the long run. And quoting our CEO, Professor Cingolani, we're not afraid to innovate, but we want to do it in a profitable way. Just the last 30 seconds for the opportunities. Advanced air mobility or innovative air mobility is not only about eVTOL and passenger transport, it's also about cargo transportation. And we are already, let's say, within a framework with Poste Italiane, we are already offering, let's say, a service that will start as a pilot in the next month to transport real mail, real packages from Naples to the Procida Island. And this is a, let's say, I think a groundbreaking revolution within the services that the national post and the national structure can offer to the public. And this will be, let's say, a step further, since Leonardo is already working with Poste Italiane with providing automated systems for the logistics and sortation and things like that. But bringing this from ground to air is truly revolutionary.
Thank you, Mauro. Anurag?
Hello. Yeah. So first of all, thanks a lot for inviting us to be part of this great event and being able to share the vision and the achievements that we as Airbus for AAM have been making or have made already. And thanks for our colleagues from DTA and the city and the region of Puglia and everybody who was involved in this great event. I think it's event like this is really, really important to promote AAM and to bring it to reality. So thanks for that. Jumping on, I mean, as I'm assuming that everybody over here knows what Airbus does with regards to our aerospace, ranging from space to helicopters to commercial and other activities. Here, I will try to focus a bit more on the AAM activities that we have been doing and the vision that we have. So focusing on AAM, we are an OEM, of course. We have been working with a lot of stakeholders across the entire value chain. And this is our key focus. This is the vision that we have. So to be an OEM, establish ourselves as OEM, but also support the development of entire ecosystem for the entire value chain. So that's one of our goals. As an OEM, we have been able to already complete test with more than 1,000 flights for 2 of our prototypes, namely City Airbus and Vahana. Beyond that, recently, if you've been following us, a couple of weeks ago, we have been able to also complete our 3rd prototype vehicle, which was the City Airbus Next Gen. And we will get into the flight test mode right now. I would say the activities are already ongoing, and we will achieve the first flight of the 3rd prototype, which is the City Airbus Next Gen, by the end of this year. So this is our vision when it comes to being an OEM, and this is the activities that we have been involved in. And beyond that, I think in terms of what we see for AAM as whole, we really believe that an ecosystem is needed and required to make it to reality. When we say it, we don't just use it as a buzzword. To be very honest with you, we have already been investing in Bavaria, in our hometown, in our home region, where we are doing world first and only end-to-end ecosystem, ranging with when I talk about ecosystem, what does it mean? It means engaging with local players, engaging with regulators, etc., to try and develop technologies to participate in projects together across the entire value chain, from vehicle to ATM, UTM, vertiports, and also customer integration. And this is exactly the vision that we have for Italy. And with this vision, we partnered with ITA Airways, the national flag carrier for Italy a couple of years ago. And we have already been successful in kickstarting this ecosystem now by onboarding 2 other local players, namely Enel, who is the energy supplier, and Urban V, whose representative Carlo was here in the last panel. So I think for us, when we talk about ecosystem, it's something that we really take to heart, and we want to develop it, because only with contributions from everyone, all the players across the value chain, this will become a reality. Otherwise, it will become something for the museums, and this is not what our goal is. Our goal is to bring it to people, to help the local ecosystem, to try and also support the local players when it comes to startups, etc. And that's how we see the ecosystem evolving for AAM.
Thank you, Anurag. Massimiliano?
So as Vodafone, we see 3 main areas, 3 main opportunities for our company and opportunities for contribution that we can bring to the ecosystem. So first of all, I need to talk about connectivity. So we run nationwide mobile telecommunication infrastructures. We run 5G infrastructures. And as my colleague Luca Cardone from Wind said in the previous session, of course, we will need to do some adjustments because right now, if you go a couple hundred meters above the ground with a mobile phone, you will not have service. But that's normal. But that's just why the current telco infrastructures are meant to connect our mobile phones that we use on the ground, not above ground. But of course, we run an infrastructure that can serve and is already serving for some tests, for some pilots, as a base to cover airways, to cover aerial corridors. Second point, in all the countries where we operate, we run an infrastructure of distributed edge computing, our distributed multi-access edge computing. This infrastructure can be used to deliver applications, to deliver low latency and high performance applications for the ecosystem of advanced air mobility. Particularly, it's an infrastructure that can be used, for instance, to deliver unmanned traffic management services. And the third point, the third opportunity that I would like to highlight, and this is to me quite important because we are already having several requests from different stakeholders in the air mobility ecosystem. It's about the real-time data, so the real-time analytics about the movements of people that in our vision today are the best data on which we could base dynamic no-fly zones, restricted areas, and these kind of applications and services. Because basically, what is, as of now, the best way to detect concentration of people in real time? It's to look at where mobile phones are. So those are basically our main opportunities.
Thank you. Rocco, what are the main challenges that you see?
I would like to follow up on what was previously said during this panel. Advanced air mobility is something that we need. It's indeed complex, but needs help of an entire ecosystem to progress. OEM, system supplier are there, can do their work, but we need a full ecosystem to progress. And when I say that, I see advanced air mobility as a synonym of innovation. And now we saw in the past innovation in the aviation industry as mainly two key players that are the innovators who actually can push the limit beyond what is possible today, but at the same time also early adopters who drive the progress, refine the solution, and eventually also validate the credibility, creating a positive domino effect. As of today, I believe that in the ecosystem, innovators are already there. System suppliers are there. Services are there. What is missing a bit, I think, are the early adopters who can embrace the innovation, exploit the solution, make a business out of it, and actually show, validate credibility, driving, therefore, the progress, right? Why are they important? Why am I stressing out on early adopters? They can act as innovation catalysts. They can act as feedback providers. That's very important for a new industry, for new products that are coming to the market. But at the same time, they are market validator. Doing all this at the same time, they are starting the learning path. They are also creating a competitive advantage. And they are also paving the way for a widespread adoption of all these solutions that are being developed. So why is this happening? In my opinion, it is because advanced air mobility is doing a great job for public acceptance. But we need to work a bit more to make who is out there, who is looking at advanced air mobility, that most of the solutions that are already being developed need early adopters, because they can be already profitable at the same time. In particular, when we speak about UAS, when we speak about the solution and the opportunities to the UAS, regulation has been made in such a way that through SORA and through the new the European regulation 2019-947, specific category of operation allow already business. And this will be extremely helpful to progress the innovation and to progress what we're actually doing in advanced air mobility. How do we plan to overcome these challenges? At Pipistrel, we strongly believe in the power of demonstration. Sometimes only showing something, you move people's mindset. That is most of the time the biggest hurdle. So we will keep pursuing in this way, also through the power of CESAR-3 joint undertaking, through the power of this research project that were also mentioned by Eurocontrol earlier. Because in this way, we believe we will be able to showcase solutions, showcase opportunities, and at the same time have a de-risking path towards the final operation. Thanks.
Thank you. Joanna?
Thank you. I would like to mention three aspects. First, the exploitation of the BVLOS possibilities and opportunities offered by BVLOS. We recently received by ENAC the authorization specific generic for BVLOS operation in infrastructure monitoring, and we plan to extend it also to the medical delivery use case in the framework of ULCAM project. We intend to benefit from the interaction between T-drones and TPZ Air 100 communication device to remotely pilot drones. The second aspect is related to one-to-many operations. We had a demonstration in partnership with Leonardo and supported by ENAC of functionalities that enable one-to-many operation, intended one pilot that has in charge several drones, to assess the feasibility of these opportunities also in T-drones platform. The third one concerns the risk of operation. As a drone operator, we face the importance to assess correctly the risk of our operation. What we did, we decided to implement a tool inside T-drones for the strategical planning. In the sense to, we aim to run the feasibility of the vision operation intended to considering the time constraint, the geographical position of the plots, the capabilities of drones, the number of pilots, to analyze the feasibility of this scenario, to find out the minimum number of pilots involved, and to assess the ground and air risk of operation. And after that, to find out the route that could minimize the risk of operation itself. Now we already had received by ENAC the approval on the layers relevant to the evaluation of the ground risk for what concerns the density, the population density, and we plan to continue it for all the ground and air layers. Thank you.
Same question, right?
Yes,
Okay.
what are the challenges?
All right, so straight to the point, I could mention some technological challenges, such as, you know, the battery is 15 times less energy dense than traditional fuel. Or, you know, you have a weight challenge due to the rulemaking and the safety requirements, then you need to add, you know, systems and redundancy, and this is weight, and you're going to lose maybe one passenger seat to afford this. But I think the main challenge that I want to mention is the profitability. The profitability, you know, means what's the cost per kilometer per seat, and who can afford it. And this goes hand in hand with the social acceptance. So I socially accept something if I can be a user of that something, you know. So truly the cost per mile or the cost per kilometer is the true driver of the profitability of this business. If this ends up being something for, you know, the high class, then you'll see a lot of the so-called NIMBYs, that not in my backyard people, that, you know, I don't want this operating in my area if I cannot afford it. And so the DOC, what's called the DOC, the direct operative cost, is probably the driver number one. In the first years, and I will conclude, in the first years, this will be much higher than it could be in the future. Also, given the fact that at first, we want these things piloted, or the tendency is to have a pilot on board, and the pilot costs money, a lot of money, because it's not an operator, it's a true pilot. So in order to be affordable, there's a different paradigm compared to the traditional aviation world. This is more similar to the automotive industry, where you mass produce your vehicles and you can truly cut on the cost, not cutting on safety. So just ending with a black humor joke, if you want, we want this thing cheap, but we're not going to use a controller of a game station. The last time that someone did it, the submersible, it did not end up well. So we're not cutting on safety, but we want to cut on costs. It's a long time span.
Thank you. Anurag?
Yeah, I mean, the reason why we hear the same things with respect to the challenges is because everybody here is kind of facing the same. There are a lot of challenges, but it boils down to a couple of them. For example, public acceptance. I think this is really core when it comes to this industry. We hear more and again by the cities where it's going to be launched, where people are like not yet onboarded, or people have not been carried onto the journey for launching it. And I think this is one of the biggest challenges, that it is for the people, it is for the community. So they have to be in the channel through the authorities of the cities, for example, or maybe the regulatory bodies. So I think this is one of the biggest issue, is to how do we already start onboarding people and making them understand what this technology can actually bring. And that is one of the reasons why we are actually focusing, one of the use cases is on air medical services. Because this has, as per many studies, even through EASA and others, that one of the first use cases could be this one, because this is going to benefit people, and it becomes then easy for people to contemplate on why it is beneficial to them. So hence, we have already, as Airbus, trying to act on it, the public acceptance piece. Besides this, I mean, we see that there are developments, a lot of it, when it comes to the OEMs. The vehicles are evolving. With regards to vertiports, the number of players are increasing, and there are new technologies coming in. But I think it's really important that we also focus a lot on the other aspects of the value chain. For example, customer integration, for example, ATM, UTM, even the operations, etc. So I think these are the key pillars that have to parallelly evolve for us to see commercial flights happening in, I don't know, in Grottaglie or Bari or anywhere in the world. So I think it's really important that all of the techno bricks and all the value chain aspects evolve at the same pace and get to a right maturity level for everything to come together and launch it into commercial services. Yeah.
Well, very quickly, two main concerns from my side. One a bit more general regarding the industry, and one a bit more specific to the telco industry. So from a general perspective, as a company, we are advocating since 2020 already towards the British government for implementing an operational, a real-life unmanned traffic management system. And on our side, we would welcome any intervention, any action from regulatory bodies to start creating, building, and operating the infrastructure for advanced air mobility. And as we did, and we are still doing for infrastructure in the railway industry, for instance, as a telco, we are more than available to cooperate to any effort in this direction. The second point, which is a bit more specific to us, to our business, but here I think I can speak not just as Vodafone, but as an industry, as a category. As I mentioned, we run infrastructures wherever we operate, and we use those infrastructures to provide the service for connecting our mobile phones. And those services are not always perceived as able to provide mission-critical services, mission-critical applications. The fact that we run an infrastructure that is providing non-critical services, which are the services for consumer, for our mobile phones, it doesn't mean that this infrastructure cannot provide mission-critical services and support mission-critical applications. So there are already some countries, for instance the UK, where the blue light services, the blue lights, so ambulances, fire department, mission-critical communications, are supported by the public network of a telco. On our side, we are already putting together a good deal of experience in working with, for instance, last September with the NATO and several NATO navies to pilot the connectivity of UAVs and other vehicles to enable future use cases and also to prove that the mobile infrastructure, being it the public infrastructure or a dedicated mobile infrastructure, can provide all the needed reliability to support any mission-critical application in the aerospace industry.
Thank you. I'm happy to see that more or less the challenges and the points that emerged during this panel are aligned with the previous one. So speaking about acceptance of the service, technology, cooperation along the value chain, and also profitability. Profitability, of course, is key in order to create something that is sustainable for everyone. Do you have any question, Q&A, anything you want to add? No questions, so thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, and